Hi, we are the NLP Pioneers, and this is our progress report video. So far, we've redesigned our system diagram. We've selected the datasets that we plan to use for pre-training and training. We have selected several model candidates to evaluate during that pre-training and training. We've pre-processed our selected datasets, and we've identified several issues that we have to clarify before moving on to our next steps. Since the problems of answering WH and polar or true-false questions are so different, we've decided to tackle each problem separately. Though the model architectures are very similar, we will be using different datasets that specialize in each, and we will be training the two separately, both for the pre-training and joint training steps. After completing the joint training, we will separate the question answering and question generation models to allow them to work independently. For question generation, the text data will be fed into both the WH and polar question generation models, whose outputs will then be concatenated into a question set. For question answering, the question set will be first fed into a classifier that separates WH and polar questions. Then the separated data will be fed into the corresponding question answering model to obtain the answers. Since our models will be tested on Wikipedia datasets, we decided to use squad datasets for the WH questions since they were derived from Wikipedia articles. We chose to use Squad 2.0, not only because it's more complex and challenging than the previous version, but also because it has unanswerable questions. This feature allows us to punish our model if it generates unanswerable questions and lets it produce reasonable ones. The format and simple data is shown on the table. We also realized that our model will have to tackle difficult co-referencing problems in the input text. For example, assume we have a sentence, Pittsburgh is a city. It is a good place to live. The model should find it refers to Pittsburgh. In other words, our model should have the ability to find all linguistic expressions in a given text that refer to the same real-world entity. Therefore, we also decided to use the QuoRef dataset for our WH questions, which includes questions that can only be answered by solving hard co-referencing issues. For our true-false dataset, we plan to use superglue. It includes a task called boolq, which contains only true or false questions. An example data point is shown in the table below. Each sample in the dataset will be pre-processed into the following: a CLS token, the question as a list of token IDs, a separator token, the context as a list of token IDs, and another separator token. Here is a link to our current code for the pre-processing step. Moving forward, we will need to address two issues. First, it is still unclear how we answer WH and true-false questions differently with different models. Secondly, Wikipedia documents are usually longer than language models' input limit, so we need to figure out a way to handle these long documents. Moving forward, in addition to addressing those two issues, we would like to pre-train the models for both WH and polar questions. Then we will try fine-tuning it with joint training and seeing if there are any issues with that. We will also evaluate the performance of our approach along the way on various models.